It's your friend, Betsy DeVega, with your podcast, Heaven to Betsy, Conversations About Life. This is our second episode. And boy, there's a lot I would love to talk about, but we're going to break them up as much as we can. Today, I'd like to talk about 2 parts to SMART. Being an educator, I'm used to working with youth. It's my passion and my love, as I said in the last video. But this isn't just for them, it's for all of us. Because we all have 2 parts to SMART. Did you know that you have 2 parts to SMART? So let's delve into it. 2 parts to SMART are your intelligence and your knowledge. And a really good formula that will help you remember is knowledge plus intelligence equals learning excellence. And that's actually H.E.L.P. And that was the school that I had for 15 years. I actually named it H.E.L.P. after that acronym because we worked on both parts of SMART. Most traditional schools don't work on both parts of SMART. They work on the knowledge base. We are born with intelligence. It's the ability that we have to take on knowledge and to work on knowledge. But the beauty is we are born with intelligence, but we can also change intelligence somewhat. There are special exercises and just lots of brain exercises that we can do to help us improve how we get that information into our head. So let's talk a little bit more specifically about what each of them handle, and then we'll talk a little bit more about how we can make each of them improve. So if you think of a computer and your CPU, your intelligence is your CPU, and your knowledge is all the files and programs that you put into the CPU. But in order for you to be able to utilize your laptop and computer, you have to have a CPU. That's what organizes it. That's what gets it going, how fast those programs come out, so on and so forth. It's your critical skills. That's your foundation for learning, and that is your intelligence. Or, better yet, your cognitive skills, which make up your intelligence. Again, that's your ability, your attention, your memory. That's how you get the information, how fast you get the information, how long you retain the information, so on and so forth. The information itself, the experiences, everything you learn, that's your knowledge base. So, in order to have a very strong building, in order to have a very strong structure, you have to have a very strong foundation. Then you can build whatever structure you want on top of it. Your foundation is your cognitive skills. But the beauty here is that you can build those cognitive skills because our brain has something called plasticity. You've probably heard of this before. So think of Play-Doh or anything that you can mold and it keeps its shape. It takes something pretty drastic to remove that shape, but you can keep building on it. Our body, it's elastic. Think of elasticity. So think of a rubber band. You work it out, it does great. You don't work it out, it gets kind of weak again, right? That's not your brain. So the beauty of your brain is it's adaptive and you can change what's called synapses in the brain. There are neurons that you can continue to build. So if you're struggling with your memory or anything like me, when you have Parkinson's, you tend to struggle with memory and cognitive skills. So I'm working very, very hard to continue to grow those cognitive skills. And for children and our youth, it's very easy to do so. However, something to think about and keep in mind. Even though our world right now is easy, or let me back up, it's easier to work with. We have internet, things are right at our fingertips, things are easier. We're actually getting rid of some of those pretty critical cognitive skills abilities that we used to have to do when we were younger. Example, shoelaces. To learn how to tie your shoelaces is a critical skill. That's a cognitive skill in addition to a fine motor skill. Now, we don't need to tie our shoelaces anymore. We get those shoelaces that are already tied for us or made very easy. But the ability to tie your shoelace or a shoelace or tie a bow, that's a critical skill. So if you can do that with your kiddos, or if you yourself can do that, continue to work on tying your bows. It's that critical skill. It's that ability to problem solve. A lot of games work on memory. They can work on processing speed. There's a lot of things that games can help with. I love going to places like Target and Walmart, looking at the games and coming up with ways, cognitive skills ways to help. And I'll do that in another episode, just for your sake. There's some really fun games out there that will really help you. Another thing are simple things like Sudoku, crossword puzzles. Puzzles are the biggest, simplest way to work out your cognitive skills. Here's another one we don't use anymore. And we think it's so easy, but we're actually taking away from our cognitive skill. And that's just remembering a phone number. How many of you out there can remember your children's phone numbers? Or your parents? Or a family? Or a friend? Back in the day, we didn't have cell phones that stored our phone numbers. We had to remember those phone numbers. And it started out with 7 numbers and ended up with 10 numbers. That's 10 numbers you had to remember, probably 15 different phone numbers. That was using cognitive skills. It's simple things like that that we now don't use. And I hate to say it, but that's not something that schools really focus on. They're focusing on the knowledge base. They're focusing on the subjects, on the information that goes into your brain. There's a few times that they work with cognitive skills, but there's a lot of exercises out there that are so simple that schools don't utilize. In an episode coming up, I will go into all the cognitive skills. I'll go into each one and give you some help and solutions and ways that maybe we could work together and strengthen those cognitive skills. In the meantime, work on your Sudoku, work on your crossword puzzles, work on those search and find games. There's a reason that Where is Waldo? There's a reason they have all those fun games, and they used to be in the newspaper when we were growing up. Utilize those now. They have a whole bunch. The adult coloring books, anything like that. If you can do mahjong or play cards or anything that utilizes that critical thinking, it'll help you so much. I promise. It's that simple, but it makes a huge difference. Anyway, I would love for you to just kind of come up with something fun and different. Here's another thing. Instead of brushing your teeth with your right hand, if that's what you're used to doing, switch it up. Try using your left hand for a little while. Just that switch up will work on your cognitive skills. There are so many things you can do that are really simple and a lot of fun. Have a great day. It was great talking to you today. Thank you for listening. If you want to hear more, please like and share and subscribe to our channel. We look forward to talking to you next time. In the meantime, we hope you'll smile a little, pray a lot, and enjoy every moment you can. Take care, and God bless. See you next time. Bye-bye.